Yeah, give yourself about 5 more minutes at this point. But if you're in Clinton, you need to be in that safe place immediately. This is Alabama Highway 39. There's 14, the intersection there through Clinton, headed towards Union. If you're in Utah, this should stay north of you, but maybe you live a little bit closer to the I-20 corridor there in Utah. Just make sure that you're in your safe place or at least ready to go at a moment's notice if this becomes more of what we call a right mover. I don't think that's going to be the case, but occasionally these storms with the strength that we're showing can actually veer a little bit towards the right. So you can see that box. Utah, you're not specifically in the warning anymore. They've trimmed it back a little bit, but maybe you live in Utah and you live a little bit closer. You might have that Utah address and you live a little bit closer to the I-20 corridor. That's where we start to say, hey, you might have a little bit of a problem there. So think about that, again, as this moves northeast. So Clinton, you need to be in that safe place now. If you're not, it's almost too late. Folks in Union, I know that's just the north and east of Clinton. You need to be in that safe place as well. See if I can't get Union to pop up there. And Snotty, I believe, is actually in the warning as well. You guys want to go ahead and start thinking about that safe place. Get there in the next few minutes. Knoxville, definitely. You get off on that exit right there, that Highway 11 exit there in Knoxville. You guys have a few minutes before this gets there. And I'll throw a storm track on here that you guys kind of see what, again, moving northeast, and it's moving pretty quickly at about 50 miles an hour. We have to draw it way on out there, but I say within Knoxville, you got 15 minutes or so before it gets to you. So this storm is very rapidly moving towards the east-northeast at about 50 to 60 miles an hour. Again, here's what we're looking at. We've got a tornado watch, areas along and south of the I-20 corridor until 5 p.m. tonight. I think a lot of this will be trimmed out after the initial line moves through. We have the tornado warning, again, for Greene County. Does not include Tuscaloosa or Hale County, but most likely if that storm holds together, we may see this storm starting to travel right up and along the 2059 corridor into Tuscaloosa. So if you're in Foster's, Tuscaloosa, start thinking about your plan. Now's the time to kind of grab anything you need to grab just in case. Start thinking about where you're going to go. If you live in a mobile home, listen, great homes, but not safe during tornadic environments. You need to go ahead and get to that safe place and get out of that home now, maybe if you're in the path of this particular cell, and go ahead and seek shelter. Go to the tornado shelters if you can, because you don't want to be caught there last second with nowhere else to go. So now's the time to start thinking about where you're going to go or start moving in that direction. If you're in Tuscaloosa or Hale counties, if you're in Greene County, the time to act is right now to get to that safe place. Of course, again, we have that tornado warning until 10:30. Storm is moving east-northeast at about 50 to 60 miles an hour. Let me throw some data back on here for you to show you what we're looking at. Here's sort of the big picture. Again, the Columbus radar is the one that's a little bit closer to what we're looking at. We have a little bit of a bounded weak echo region there showing up, maybe a little bit of a donut hole. They're just northeast of Clinton. But as this moves north and east, it's right now just beyond the intersection of Alabama 39 and 14. It's moving up County Road 191, going to cross over County Road 208 right in the next few minutes. And again, this is headed towards Knoxville at a very rapid pace. The warning has not been extended into Tuscaloosa County yet. Most likely it will. If you're in Ralph or Foster's or Tuscaloosa, you need to be thinking right now about what you're going to do if they issue that warning and they pull the trigger on that. So be aware of that, be mindful of that situation, know what you're going to do if the warning is extended into Tuscaloosa County. So it looks like the velocity data is a little bit behind, and you can see here from Clinton, two different looks here, but still we're getting some very strong indications of rotation, those brighter greens on the darker reds. So there's still about 100 mile an hour, what we call gate-to-gate shear or change in direction, that rotation within the thunderstorm near Clinton right now. I'm encouraged by the fact I have not seen any damage reports yet. I haven't seen any spotter information coming in about a damage report. But so far, the Weather Service says this is the best rotation that they've seen or best circulation that they've seen so far in Greene County. So be aware of that and be in that safe place at the moment. Again, The storm has been very cyclic. We've seen it broaden out a little bit where we wouldn't be worried too terribly much, but then quickly, very quickly, wraps back up into a very tight rotation. The tornado warning here for Greene County is until 10:30. So we've got about 24 more minutes on this warning. I think it'll be out of the county by then. With the speed that this is moving at, it is moving through Clinton now. If you're in Clinton, you need to be in that safe place. Small town of Union up here. I know there's a town just to the northeast of Clinton called Union. You guys need to be in that safe place. That rotation is going to pass just south of town, maybe even just south of the County Road 191. That's what we're talking about. And then this is going to head right up through Knoxville. So if you're in Knoxville, now's the time. You need to be in that safe place at the moment. Sumter County, you're in the all clear. If you didn't hear that, Utah, you were not in the warning officially, but if you live in maybe in northern parts of town, maybe up Highway 11, you still have that Utah address. Just be aware that you may be very close to this. This is going to cross over or right along at the Highway 11 and I-20 junction there, that off-ramp from I-20 to Highway 11. That's the Knoxville exit. And I think folks in Knoxville, you need to be in that safe place. Snotty as well, town of Union there. And again, I'm looking ahead. I'm giving you the heads up. Ralph, Foster's, Romulus, Tuscaloosa, Taylorville. You need to be in that safe place or start thinking about it. Let me put it that way. You need to start thinking about your plan of action if the Weather Service extends this warning into Tuscaloosa County. You are not officially within the tornado watch. Mother Nature does not care about tornado watches, so know that. Also want to throw this out there. Folks in Moundville, you're not out of the woods. You need to be thinking about this as well. If this takes a little bit of a right turn, folks in Moundville, you may actually need to get in that safe place as well. But again, I'm going to let the folks in Tuscaloosa County know that Ralph, Foster's, Taylorville, Tuscaloosa, you all need to start thinking about what you're going to do if the Weather Service extends. No reports of anything out of Greene County. Is that County 911? Okay, that's excellent news. So the County 911 in Greene County so far, no reports of damage, which is encouraging. Again, this is still a very good indication of rotation, strong rotation, but we are not getting reports of damage, which is fantastic. The tornado warning itself right now is just for Greene County through 10:30 this morning, moving northeast at about 50 miles an hour. There's talk whether they will be issuing this into Tuscaloosa County, but be aware that they have not done so yet. I just want the folks in southwest Tuscaloosa County, Ralph, Foster's, even Tuscaloosa, Taylorville, you guys, even Moundville, you need a heads up as well about the possibility of them extending this warning into Tuscaloosa and northern Hale County very, very soon. Here's the rotation that we're talking about. There's the polygon that you see there. Again, this is moving. There's Clinton. Clinton, you are no longer in the warning. They've trimmed this back. Here's the rotation right there, traveling right along the county highway, or that's actually Alabama 39 there, moving up towards Snotty. There's a small town, Union, right here, Knoxville over here, and this is moving north and east. So if you're in Knoxville, you need to be in that safe place and be ready for this storm to move through. The warning itself still has about 20 minutes before they will expire this. I think it'll be out of the county within 20 minutes if it keeps moving at this pace. But we can kind of switch back and forth now at this point between the Columbus radar and the Birmingham radar. Gives us two different looks. The storm relative velocity does not look nearly as impressive from the Birmingham next rad. Again, County Road 191 there is where we're talking about. It's traveling right up 191 and headed towards the northeast into Snotty and Union. You guys need to be in that safe place. If you're in the town of Union, I know it's a small town out there, you guys need to be in that safe place immediately. This is where that rotation is located right now, and there's very limited time to react. If you're in northern parts of, I would say, well, I'll just say Knoxville. If you're in Knoxville, you need to get to that safe place. Anywhere along Highway 11 and the I-20 junction there, you get off from that off-ramp, you need to be in that safe place as well in the Knoxville area. You might even live in northern Utah, and I think you guys are okay at this point, which is fantastic. If you're in the Utah area, you've got the all clear. If you're in Clinton, I'm going to give you the all clear as well. But remember, these storms today, we've gotten lucky a little bit. Let me say it this way. So far, the storms this morning have really been able to stabilize the air mass in northern parts of the state. We had some earlier rain early this morning anywhere along the I-20 corridor generally and north. We've had a stabilized air mass. To the south, we haven't had that as much. There's still some instability there. It's something we'll be monitoring through the rest of the day, but we do have that tornado watch. The area is highlighted in the yellow right now. That's the tornado watch through 5 p.m. We have the tornado warning through 10:30 for the northeast quadrant there of Greene County. Has not been extended into Tuscaloosa County. May be extended here in the next few minutes, as this is a fast-moving storm. May also include a northern sliver of Hale County, including the city of Moundville. So everybody in Tuscaloosa and northern Hale County, start thinking about what your plan of action will be if they issue that warning as this storm moves very quickly northeastward. No reports of damage from County 911. That was just a few minutes ago. That's fantastic news. I have no reports of damage coming in from storm spotters at the moment, which is good. Tuscaloosa, just reading the Weather Service again, saying what I'm saying, that, hey, listen, you need to keep a heads up there in Tuscaloosa County that the warning may be extended. So far, they have not issued a warning for Tuscaloosa or northern Hale County, but be aware that they may, if this circulation continues to hold together. The storms themselves, and actually I want to go back to the bigger picture, looking back to the south and west, you see again a big squall line coming through. We have some more tornado warnings back down into southern parts of Mississippi. We may see more of those through southern parts of the state of Alabama as well. But for our viewing area, we have the tornado watch through 5 o'clock this afternoon, and that will continue until this line moves through and they start clearing counties from west to east a little bit later on. So it's one of those mornings you need to stay weather aware throughout the morning, throughout the rest of the day. Just keep something with you that'll give you a warning if you get it. You get that smartphone app. That's always a good one for us. Again, the tornado watch in the area is highlighted in yellow until 5:30. You see that warning there for northeastern parts of Greene County until 10:30. And at the moment, I would say if you're in Knoxville, if you're not in your safe place, you better be getting there pretty darn soon, because this thing is moving very quickly. We've had indications of it moving between 50 and 60 miles an hour. If you're in Snotty or Knoxville, you need to be in that safe place. They have not issued into Tuscaloosa County yet, but if you're in Ralph or Foster's or Tuscaloosa or Taylorville, Duncanville, you guys need to be thinking about what am I going to do if they issue this warning. Moundville as well. I don't think they'll include the northern parts of Hale County, but if they do, start thinking about your plan of action when you're ready to go. All right, Boss Man's in the house. Boss?
Yeah, nothing like a Saturday morning severe weather event here. Thanks, Charles.
They just pulled the trigger on Tuscaloosa, it looks like.
To say. So the Weather Service in Birmingham is now posting a tornado warning for parts of Greene and Tuscaloosa counties, and this will include the city of Tuscaloosa. This has been a very persistent circulation, so again, you can see this will be exiting the northeastern part of Greene County, coming up into southwestern Tuscaloosa County. So let me kind of give your bearings here. That's Interstate 5920 right here. This is US Highway 11. This is the Knoxville exit. The community of Ralph sits right here. So the call to action immediately, if you are near Ralph, that's in far southwest Tuscaloosa County, you need to be in a safe place now. Then ultimately, you've got Foster's and Romulus. If you're anywhere near those communities, and this is southwest of the city of Tuscaloosa, you need to be in a safe place. And understand, this tornado warning polygon does include the city of Tuscaloosa. So again, if you're watching us and hearing your weather radio sounding, your smartphone app went off, this is a thunderstorm that seems to be riding a warm front across central Alabama. And again, let's expand this out, Charles, and let me just show Tuscaloosa and Northport here. This is Tuscaloosa. Northport here, of course, you got the campus of the University of Alabama. That's Highway 69 coming south down toward Moundville. This is US 82 coming down toward Duncanville. And the warning polygon does not include Coker or Buell. That is in the far western part of the county. It does include Romulus and Foster's, and then areas up into downtown Tuscaloosa and Northport. Understand, this has been over a fairly sparsely populated area. I've not heard of any specific damage, but that's not to say there's no damage. There could be, but again, clearly this is a very persistent circulation, and often when you see persistence like this, there's a sign there could be something down. and the circulation here is about to cross the county line. This is Tuscaloosa County. This is Greene County. This is the Sipsey River right up in through here. That's the circulation. So again, it's about to cross over into Tuscaloosa County out of Greene County. The circulation has been north of Interstate 5920, but in terms of travel, the advice is not to be on Interstate 5920 because you are in the polygon. You've heard us say it over and over, respect the polygon. So if you're in it, you don't drive, you get out of a car, you get out of a mobile home, you get into a safe place, you go through your tornado plan. If you're not in the warning polygon, then you're good. The warning for Tuscaloosa County is until 11 o'clock this morning. The warning for Greene County is until 10:30. It's coming up on 10:16. We can pretty much give Greene County an all clear in a matter of minutes. So the next thing we'll start to do, Charles, is kind of watch those sky cams we have in Tuscaloosa. In fact, if we can, Vic, let's punch that up. Charles, this is coming from the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse.
Right.
And the dew point's up to 61. So it looks like this thing might be close to a surface boundary and that the storm is kind of rogue and it's out there by itself. But clearly, this is a dangerous storm.
Yeah, and it's been one of those areas where we've just kind of monitored it. It had some rotation, very, very broad at times, but then within a scan or two, it tightens right back up. And that's why it's one of those things we have to watch very closely. You can't give the all clear after one radar scan. Now, at this point, it's getting closer to the radar. We get that lower level look, and we're starting to see that with this, again, tighter rotation, closer to the surface. And like James said, so far, it's been over very rural parts of the viewing area. Now it's going to start moving into more heavily populated areas, Ralph and Foster's and Tuscaloosa, and we may start to get some more reports of potential damage moving forward out of this. Again, I think one of the problems we're going to see, though, is it may be rain-wrapped. We've seen quite a bit of heavy rainfall with some of these storms through the morning, and I can show you a different look as it's moving northeast. We get that, what we call that bounded weak echo region. You get that hollow donut showing up sometimes, and then as it moves northeast, with the rain there, it's going to be very difficult to see. There's a lot of moisture around this as it moves northeastward. This is from the radar coming out of Birmingham. A little bit different look here. This is this velocity data. Doesn't look quite as impressive. We kind of go back to the radar out of Mississippi. And same story, we get a little bit better look at the rotation. The velocity data still seems to be a little bit more in depth or closer to the radar beam coming out of Mississippi. But it's going to be very difficult to see. We don't want you out there trying to take pictures of this thing. We just want you to be in that safe place. Go ahead and get there now. We've been telling you all morning, listen, get to that safe place, lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the exterior as possible.
Yeah, let's take WEX 05 real quick if we can, Naral. And this is going to be a tractor trailer that is overturned right in that part of Greene County where we have the severe storm. Now, I honestly don't know, and I don't think this was related to the storm, Charles, to the best of my knowledge. It looks like this might have happened earlier.
Where was that?
Perhaps. This is at the Knoxville exit along Interstate 5920 in Greene County. The tornadic circulation is just north of there, and that was earlier today. So this was not related to the storm. But the problem we've got, all these people out there on the interstate, which is the last place you want to be. But again, the circulation is north of the Knoxville exit. But again, in Tuscaloosa County, we advise people not to be traveling along Interstate 5920 at this point. So let's go back to the radar. And if you're just joining us, it's 10:19 on Saturday morning. I'm James Spann. We have Charles Daniel here. We have a tornado warning. We've been watching the storm coming through Sumter and Greene counties. The possible tornadic storm is coming out of Greene County, coming up into Tuscaloosa County. And again, let me get your bearings straight on this. In fact, let's put the velocity on here, Charles. We'll take a look at the velocity data and see what that looks like. And again, it's going to be right in through here. And that's probably Columbus, right?
Yeah, switching over to Columbus, it's still about 5 to 750,000 or 50 feet lower to the ground, so we get a little bit better look.
Right. So again, that's a pretty good look, and it's been very persistent. So this is U.S. Highway 11, old U.S. 11 from Foster's down to Ralph. This is the interstate, Interstate 5920, that parallels U.S. Highway 11. The circulation most likely is going to be passing a little north of the interstate, north of Interstate 5920 and north of U.S. Highway 11. And again, you're going to have the communities up here. This is Romulus, and Romulus is on the northern edge of this, but clearly you get the idea, the area between U.S. Highway 11 and County Road 2, which is up and through here. You need to be in a safe place. And ultimately, this circulation will come up right toward the cities of Tuscaloosa and Northport and the campus of the University of Alabama if it holds together. And so far, it's been very persistent. This circulation originated back in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, near Meridian, came through Sumter County, came through Greene County, and now it's in Tuscaloosa County. So again, the city of Tuscaloosa sits right here. Of course, that's the Warrior River. Northport sits right across the river. That's Interstate 359 right here. This is Skyland Boulevard. That's Interstate 5920. This is McFarland Boulevard. But again, that's your tornadic circulation about 30 miles southwest of the city of Tuscaloosa. But if you are in the Polygon, and about 100,000 of you are, the best thing to do right now is to be in a small room in your home. And a lot of people perhaps are new here. They don't understand this. A small room, that's a hall, closet, bathroom. Lowest floor, if you've got a multiple floor home, and if you live in an apartment complex, you can't be on the second or third floor. You've got to be on the first floor. The clubhouse, someplace on the ground level. You can't be up. You want to be near the center of the structure, and you want to be away from windows. And you want to wear a helmet, a bicycle helmet, a batting helmet. That really mitigates the loss of life during tornadoes. Most likely, if we have one down, this is a smaller tornado, but every tornado is dangerous, even an EF0. So understand this is coming up in that classic southwest to northeast fashion, right up toward Tuscaloosa and Northport here. And this thing is about 10 minutes or so away. And the other thing, we of course remind you, no mobile homes and no vehicles, no cars, trucks, or buses. And obviously the main thoroughfare in through here, Interstate 5920, is in that polygon, as is Interstate 359. So we advise no traveling. Wait until this thing passes, then go about your business. This is a fairly isolated thunderstorm. In fact, this is the only, Charles, tornado warning in the state right now.
I believe so, yeah. It's one of those things that it's just fired up, and it's held together quite well, all the way from Mississippi, like you said. But we do have that tornado watch that was issued not too long ago. That is until 5 o'clock this evening, but this is our only tornado warning at the moment.
And I think what's interesting is the fact that this is actually
outside
not
the watch.
Right, not in the tornado watch. Again, I think the Weather Service made the right call. I would do the same thing. They did not include the cities of Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden. We have had this rain-cooled air. It's fairly stable. And you would think that we would not have a severe weather problem north of Interstate 5920. But again, this seems to be right on the boundary that could be a warm front in that zone. And sometimes storms get on these boundaries and they can be fairly persistent. So again, even though there's no tornado watch in effect, we have the tornado warning in effect for Tuscaloosa County. This is until 11 o'clock this morning. It is now 10:23, and the tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock. And the watch is basically for much of central and southwest Alabama, the counties you see here in yellow. But the only warning in the state is this one, and that's the reason we're focusing on that. Let's go back to our sky cam. This is going to be the sky cam on top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. And if you watch this over the years, this camera's provided some pretty remarkable views of storms coming up into Tuscaloosa from the south and west. But as Charles, you pointed out, this thing, if it's there, it's going to be rain wrap most likely.
Right. It's going to be very difficult to see.
It is so hard to see tornadoes in Alabama in most cases because of the fact that these storms tend to be HP supercells, heavy precipitation. They're wrapped in rain. And remember, even if they're not, because of the hills and trees we have, you often can't see anything. And at least we have a daytime event here. Many of the tornadoes in the state happen at night. But again, we do not have any specific confirmation of damage with this. But remember, this has been coming through a very rural, sparsely populated part of Sumter and Greene counties. And even now in Tuscaloosa County, that southwestern part is fairly sparsely populated. So let's go back to the radar. And again, if you're just joining us, we are working a tornado event here, a tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County. This is the thunderstorm that has prompted the tornado warning. And again, the part of the storm that would most likely have a tornado is just north of Interstate 5920, north of US 11, near the community of Ralph. And this is moving fairly a steady state towards the northeast. That will be moving parallel to US 11 and Interstate 5920. There's your velocity couplet here. And again, even though most likely it stays north of the interstate's in a polygon.
Right.
And so just don't drive. You know, some things in life aren't worth it. We all have risks. Risk is part of life, but driving in a tornado warning polygon, it's not worth it. So best thing to do is pull off. If you're listening to us by radio, gas station, restaurant, just find a place where you can get into a site-built structure and ride this thing out. This is moving along at a pretty good clip. When the warning is canceled, when the warning expires, going about your business. So again, Foster's here, Romulus here, and the tornado, the possible tornado, is going to be coming up on the city of Tuscaloosa in about 15 minutes or so. So again, this will include the University of Alabama. And for those that are students, perhaps, that have not dealt with this, maybe you're a freshman, and this is your first go-around with tornadoes. In a dorm building, you don't want to be up. You've got to be down. Lowest level, or if there's an underground level, that's even better. Most of the buildings on campus have designated tornado shelters. And you can check your probably text messages now from the university, and my advice is to go there. Again, this is one of these situations where I know it's inconvenient. You probably have things to do, but then again, it's Saturday. I mean, come on. This thing's going to not last long. You move on, and it's going to be on by. But we encourage everybody in the city of Northport, which is in the Polygon, Tuscaloosa. Of course, you've got Cottondale over here. You've got Holt up here. Downtown Tuscaloosa is right here. That's Interstate 359. And again, the camera that you'll be seeing on the courthouse kind of sits about right here, looking back into this. And again, you see all this rain. Obviously, a little batch of heavier rain is going to come in here. But if there's anything there, it's going to be a little while, Charles, before we see this. And again, even if there's something there, we can't guarantee that you're going to see this thing at all. You have to assume it's there based on the radar data. And one thing we have learned from social science studies is that you at home tend not to do anything when we show radar. You will do something if we show a live stream of the tornado. And of course, the frustrating thing for us, we can't always do that.
They canceled it.
Okay.
They called it.
Okay.
That's good news.
So
the Weather Service has called it.
The Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning now for Tuscaloosa County. So that means that everybody can go on about their business. I saw the Polygon pop off here. I'm thinking, okay.
I thought it was a data issue.
Right. And again, I'm looking at the circulation on the radar coming from Birmingham here. And it is fairly broad. It's there. No doubt this convective cell is rotating. But remember, this radar beam is not at the surface. It's a few thousand feet off the ground. We're getting closer to the radar site at the Shelby County Airport over here. But the Weather Service believes, based on the lack of reports and the fact that the circulation is now much broader, that they can go ahead and cancel the warning. So again, at 10:28, we now have no active warnings in effect for the entire state. So if you're in Tuscaloosa, Northport, if you're around the University of Alabama, you can go about your business right now. But we would encourage you to be sure you can hear a warning if one has to be reissued, because that thing is still spinning. And again, that's a weather radio in your home, or the smartphones. And remember, all smartphones are equipped with wireless emergency alerts, or WIA. And even without an app, you should get tornado warnings on here if you don't turn the wireless emergency alerts off, which we encourage you not to do. So just be sure you can hear warnings if other warnings are issued. So again, at this point, there are no warnings in effect for the state. This is the tornado watch, and this is until 5 o'clock this afternoon. And this is basically south of Interstate 20. And I think this is a good call. This tornado watch does not include Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden. The watch does include the northernmost counties are Clay, Talladega, Shelby, Bibb, Greene, Hale, and Sumter. That's the northernmost row of counties, then counties south down toward Montgomery and Mobile, and that's until 5 o'clock today. And this is your classic, really dynamic weather system where the dynamics are tremendous. The weakness, it's the thermodynamics. The air is just rain-cooled and stable. We've had this large, massive rain this morning over much of the northern half of the state, and based on this rain-cooled air, the odds of any severe weather north of Interstate 20 are just really low. Maybe not zero, but pretty low, and that's the reason the tornado watch is not in effect up here. However, down to the south, the dew points are higher. There is a decent amount of buoyancy, and so the Weather Service believes the better combination of dynamic support and instability will be south of Interstate 20. And again, that watch goes from south of Birmingham all the way down to Mobile and Baldwin counties. And we got to get a shout out, Charles, to the National Weather Service guys.
Hey, listen, they're working without pay.
Yeah.
We appreciate them. We appreciate you and all that they do, and they're still killing it, doing a great job.
Yeah, it's a very stressful time, and I've seen a lot of negative stuff. But listen, these guys, these men and women are working hard with no paycheck, and it's kind of a stressful time. But we've got to give them a thumbs up. That's the Storm Prediction Center. Those are the local Weather Service offices, like at the Shelby County Airport, Huntsville, and Mobile. the Weather Prediction Center, all these products and services you see, like this radar data is flowing from the National Weather Service. Computer model data we use flowing from the National Weather Service. So a big thumbs up to them working this. And understand, we've got a huge snowstorm north of here. And that will affect places like New York City, Boston, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Philadelphia, the big cities up in the Northeast. They're having to work that under these conditions. So, but again, this is the where we are now. And if you're just joining us, the reason we're here, we had a tornado warning for parts of Sumter County initially, then Greene County, and then Tuscaloosa County. But the Weather Service canceled the warning for Tuscaloosa County about 5 minutes ago, based on the fact that the circulation is much broader. So we're going to stay here for just a little bit to be sure that another warning doesn't pop up. And of course, if we do go back to regular programming, we'll come right back if we have another warning. But this is the cell that prompted that warning, and this is out here in the western part of Tuscaloosa County, between Coker, Romulus, and Foster's. And again, that'll be coming right up into Tuscaloosa. So we'll watch this like a hawk. But again, for now, we don't have an active warning in effect because the circulation is broad. And if you can punch up WEX 05 real quick behind me, Naral, this is a look at the circulation coming from Birmingham, from the Shelby County Airport. And it's there. And understand that this convective cell is rotating in the mid-levels. But again, based on the lack of damage reports and the broad nature of this, the Weather Service has gone ahead and canceled that. And one of the things that they really worked on, and we applaud them for this, reducing the number of false alarms. The easiest thing to do in the world is to issue a tornado warning every time you see some kind of rotation on radar. It's like hit that button, hit that button, hit that button. But when nothing happens, it's the cry wolf syndrome. And years ago, the false alarm ratio was 80% here. Now it's down in the 30s. And the warnings mean something. So we are very thankful for the Weather Service being cognizant of that and using the discretion when it comes to issuing these tornado warnings. But again, clearly there is some circulation here, and we're going to kind of stay with this as it comes up toward Tuscaloosa and Northport. Again, this is McFarland Boulevard. That's the interstate. That's Interstate 359. Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard right here, and the bridge across the river. So let's go back to the Skycam.
Yeah, it doesn't. I've been scanning back and forth, and I don't see anything terribly interesting yet showing up, but it's still a ways away from the camera. And then, of course, the pesky rain is keeping it a little bit hard to see. But we just kind of scan back and forth. We're looking almost towards the west here at this point, and just kind of back and forth between the west and southwest. And I think this might actually almost just northwest of the city if it keeps on that trajectory that it's on, more into the Northport, Tuscaloosa, between the two there. But I don't see anything in particular. A few CLCs, as you like to call them, those
creepy-looking clouds.
Yeah, there's a few of those around for sure, but nothing ominous showing on the Skycam network so far. Dew point's still holding steady around the low 60s. There's a lot of moisture in the air for these storms to tap into. Heavy rain, not out of the question. And again, that also helps with the instability, but it's not. It hasn't been terribly unstable, the air mass along and north of the I-20 corridor so far today.
All right, so it is now 10:34, and again, what we're going to do, we're going to stay with you until this storm comes through Tuscaloosa and Northport, just to be sure that nothing happens. But again, there is no warning in effect right now, so it's okay to go into